What if you set yourself a little goal this week on making horse riding one of the top priorities for you? How would that look? How would the week be different? What would you do differently, or how would you think differently? That's what we're going to explore today, making horse riding a priority in your life again. Let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to the Daily Strides podcast. My name is Lauren Elise, and I'm an equestrian trainer and coach, and I work with riders from all over to help them to figure out what to do each and every time they're with their horse and how to do it in a way that's actually going to get them progress and moving forwards again. Now, I want to talk today about horse riding being a priority because I think that no matter what plans you make, and we can make all the plans in the world, hey? But if you don't have this kind of crucial little piece in place, everything else, it's just not going to pan out. And you might get there for like 2 or 3 weeks. And of course, willpower is great. And this will depend on, I suppose, how much willpower you have. But at the end of the day, you have to also have this, if you want this curiosity and this excitement about horse riding as well, okay? It has to be a priority. It has to be something that really and truly defines you right now in your life. It's something that if people were to ask you, describe yourself or tell me about your life, you would have horse riding in there. And I think that if you want to really see yourself as an equestrian and feel good about being an equestrian, this is what it all comes down to. That you could say it to a stranger, well, I do this, this, and this. And you could clearly see by your actions that being like with horses is something that is very important to you and is a priority. But for many of us, and I've spoken about this in the previous 2 episodes, horse riding, where it might have started off as a priority at some point, life happens, hey? And it just starts to slip down that list. It like goes lower and lower and lower, and eventually it's not even on the list. It's like, maybe someday again, I might just pull out my old jods and mount up, okay? But I think that we can change that. And if you are keen to really and truly make horse riding something that's part of your life again, I'm going to tell you how in this episode, and I'm also going to invite you to do something special as well, okay? But let's start with priorities. Priorities are really strange because priorities are very much tied to values, and values are very much tied to how we see ourselves and what we think of ourselves, okay? So if you have all the thoughts in your head about, I don't ride often enough, I'm not riding, I don't have time for riding, you could see how by continuously telling yourself that, you're gonna come up against horse riding being a priority. And it's important to shift that. What I find is if you go, people are all for affirmations, and affirmations are, I find interesting because I think on a certain level they maybe can work, but I also think if the thing that you're telling yourself, if the affirmation that you are saying, okay, is so far from the truth or from whatever your mind perceives to be the truth at this exact moment in time, your mind isn't going to buy into it. And you can almost feel it. If you ever kind of get down to the nitty gritty, you can physically feel your body going, nope. You're telling a porky there. That's not true, okay? And I think that if you're constantly, we'll use the word lying here, okay? But if you're constantly lying to yourself, and I don't think people do this on purpose, by the way, and that's why I'm making light of it. It is something that's obviously can have a lot of issues later on down the road with your life and that. But if you're constantly telling yourself little porkies about horse riding, your mind is going to start not believing anything you say, because it's like, well, you lied about that. What else are you lying about, okay? And I think that can actually be more harmful. So I think that instead of just saying random affirmations, okay, I just don't think it works long term. I think you need to try and look for something that maybe is closer to the truth, okay? So instead of saying, I ride 4 days a week, okay, and we'll just use that number, 4 days a week, or I am an equestrian. Okay. And if you're like, please, I haven't been in the saddle in like 3 years. Who are you kidding? Okay. It's not going, it doesn't matter how much you try and tell yourself that. Your mind knows. And it's like, no, you're lying now. But if you could say, I'm somebody who horse riding was once a really big part of my life, and I'm actively looking for opportunities every day to make it that again. Now that sounds good, eh? You could reach there. I think you could anyway. I think like you couldn't say you were lying. Maybe you could, and if you're saying every day, hey, I work, I've got like a family, I'm studying, I've got all the things, I've responsibilities, okay? Well, you could say every week, I'm actively looking for 2 opportunities or a single opportunity, whatever, okay? But by doing that, that's something that you can actually begin to align with. And you can say, yeah, it is true. Horse riding was a really important part of my life at one point. You couldn't doubt that, okay? And then you can say, yeah, and you know what? Once a week, I can actually look for opportunities. And whether it's just watching something on Instagram or watching something on YouTube or buying a horse magazine, okay? I'm just thinking about different things. It doesn't have to be riding in the saddle, but you are going to actively begin to look for ways that you can bring horse riding back into your life. And as I said, whether you want to do it daily or whether you want to do it like once a week or whatever, that is a way you can make it happen. And what starts to happen is when you start to kind of see yourself slightly differently with this, it kind of causes, I spoke a couple of episodes ago about curiosity, and how I just think curiosity is like one of the pieces so many riders are missing out on, okay? But it starts to almost spark curiosity, and that sort of curiosity leads to a little bit of excitement, okay? And you start thinking about, yeah, I remember that. And, by just saying that yes, horse riding was once very important, you begin to actually think back to that, and you're like, oh, remember when we done that? And remember when this happened? And sure, that was brilliant. That was like so much fun. I really loved doing that. And that is where then you can begin to get almost like interested, and you can begin to get your mind to buy into this interest. Now, once you've done that, this is where you actually start to, I believe you need to start, taking action on this, okay? Now, and I know saying the little affirmations and maybe taking the 1 action a day or 1 action a week, yes, they are actions, definitely. But we need to also get now a little bit more committed about what we're going to do. And what I find is one of the best ways to do this is to have somebody be with you on the journey, okay? Like somebody who, maybe it's a friend who the two of you have also, you've kind of, you left riding for whatever, and people leave riding for all sorts of reasons, okay? And very often it's life, and I know it's life. It's like career and studying and family and responsibilities, and I get that, and I know that, okay? But then you find yourself at this place, and it's like, no, horse riding now is something that I really want to commit to again. If you have somebody who is in the same boat as you, and this doesn't have to be somebody you knew from before, this could be a new person, but somebody who also wants to start making this a priority again, you can almost, if you want, use their excitement or their curiosity on the days where you feel yours is a little bit low, okay? You'll often see people do this when they begin a fitness journey. They'll have a person that they walk or they run or they work out with, and they kind of make this commitment to each other. Listen, we're going to do this like on these days at this time, okay? Whatever way it suits them. But on the days where you want to make the excuse, well, the other person is going to say, no, hold on now. We committed to this. Like, we're doing it. Let's go. And they'll call you out on it if you're not doing your thing. And very often, just that is enough, because, you're going to find resistance. I can sit here and lie to you and tell you it's sunshine and roses the whole way. It's not, okay? There's going to be days where like it just rains all the time, or the hailstones are going to beat in your face, or the sun is going to just like, it feels like you're going to melt just walking across the field to go fetch your horse. Okay, you get those days. There's going to be days where you didn't get enough sleep the night before because a child was sick, or the days where you were asked to work late to do the project. Okay, there's going to be those days. Those days are going to show up. It's inevitable. But when we are just starting out, if we had the support of somebody else, and again, this does not have to be somebody that you are familiar with. You might not even know this person right now. You have not met them yet, okay? Isn't that an exciting possibility, okay? But what this person is then going to help you. They're going to say, whoa, hold on now. Is there any way we could work around this? Or how could we make this happen? Or, I think you should really push on through, because I bet you if you pushed on through, you just feel so much better afterwards. Or whatever it is, whatever kind of just little bit of support, momentum, a little bit of motivation, a little bit of tough love, whatever it is that you need on that day just to get you over the hump. What it does is, first of all, you begin, remember I said how your brain has to trust what you're telling it? You begin actually building more trust with yourself, okay? And it feels good. And when it feels good, we'll do more of the thing that helped us to feel good. And in this case, it was pushing through when things were tough, or when things got in the way, when the day didn't go to plan, okay? And, initially you don't have that strength. That muscle is not built yet. But by using somebody else, and remember, it's always easier for the other person to tell you, get up off the couch and get out and ride the horse. Okay, so it's kind of, the saying, it's no skin off their nose, okay? You're not asking for anything major from them. You're just asking for a little bit of accountability, a little bit of support, a little bit of a network there to help you on through. And I think that is really, really important. So I'm going to encourage you to go find that person for you. Now, last year we opened a program. We ran 2 of them last year, actually, and I was that person for a small group of riders. So we got on Telegram. Telegram's an app. It's kind of like WhatsApp. And I was able to check in with them, find out what was going on. We were doing video reviews. They had lessons they had to work through. They had actual things to do with their horses. It was all paced. Obviously they had a program, but then because it was private, it was like one-to-one working together and coaching. They got to really and truly work through it in their own time, and they got to work on what they needed to work on. Now, obviously they could then afterwards use the whole program, okay? And they could use it over and over and over again to help build that momentum. Before those weeks, I was that person for them, okay? And I was helping them, and I was saying, did you do it? And how did it go? And I'm just checking in with you, and what do we need to do next? And, I see in the videos that, we need to focus on this, this, and this, because it's not changing. It's still the same. And yes, it sounds tough, and yes, it sounds like jeepers tonight. But if you were to pay somebody in person, an instructor, a trainer, or a riding coach, that's what they're going to do with you. And that is what I done for people from all over the world, okay, everywhere. And what was really interesting was we had some people with there was certain weather challenges, and then there was other people with completely opposite weather challenges, because they're in completely different parts of the world. But it was brilliant. We did not put them together into a group setting. We kept them separate. So it was just myself, and I was working with them, and I felt that then helped that we didn't have any comparison coming in, because I often think that that's the big thing that prevents riders moving forward. They'll look at other people who are further along, who maybe got to a certain point quicker or got there easier, and they think, oh, I can't do it, and it can often set them back. So we just kept it was me and the person, and we just worked together in private, and we worked together over a period of 9 weeks. And I'm going to invite you now. I'm looking for another 10 riders to do this with now. If you're interested, you can pop on over to returningtoriding.com. All the information is there. You can sign up, and we can get going on your journey today. I am so excited about this. It was so much fun working with the riders last year. I loved every minute, and I would love to work with you this year in your riding as well. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Remember, returningtoriding.com, all the info's there. Have a super week. Keep well, and I'll chat to you soon. Be good. Bye.